Good evening, or good morning, good day, wherever you are. My name is Rhonesha Blache. I am currently located in Phoenix, Arizona. I am 25 years into my career as an educator internationally. I am also a doctoral candidate at Teachers College, Columbia University, located in New York City. And I am also the executive or senior executive director of the African Diaspora Consortium. I'll tell you more about that in a second, as well as the founder and CEO of Usawa Education LLC. I am excited and thanking Obey for this conversation and look forward to learning more about the network that is listening to this conversation right now. So,
All right, that is perfect, Ronesha. I'm really so happy to talk with you. You know what is really funny about this conversation, and also basically the time that we are today, is that right now I woke up not quite long ago. This is actually 8 o'clock here in Italy, in Europe, where I'm connected with you, and I understand that you are around 11 or about 11. Is that correct?
yes, just under an hour from midnight, and it is the 4th of July here. So even though it's late, there's still people outside celebrating with fireworks.
That is interesting. And we are here, we are in the 5th of July. So actually, we are one day, we are one day ahead of you, but more like, that is really interesting.
Yes, well, we've designed our various time zones to accommodate for the Earth's rotation, so it's
Mhm.
all good. We're here at the present moment now.
That is really interesting. And that's why that we're able to connect with a fraction of a second, we can hear each other talking.
Yes, yes.
All right.
Yes.
So talking of connection, this is actually what this podcast is about right now. I mean, this episode of the podcast, because we are talking about how to connect among the African diaspora, irrespective of wherever we might find ourselves in the world today. You might be in China, you might be in France, you might be in the US, in Canada, you might be in Nigeria, you might be here in Italy. Wherever you are, we believe that the time have come for us as African or as children of the mother Africa to connect. We look for a way actually to connect and educate ourselves and learn from each other so that we can pursue a common goal. Is that something that sounds interesting to you, Ranisha?
Absolutely. That's why I agreed to this conversation, even at 11 p.m. in the evening.
Okay, now let's begin with the organization, the one that you're actually working on, African Diaspora Consortium. Can you tell us something
Mhm.
about it?
Yes, well, we started around 2015, founded by uh, uh, the founder and CEO is Dr. Cassie Freeman, who is the former president of oh goodness, I want to say
It's okay.
Southern, sorry, the Southern University System, a historically Black college and university. And we are a group of academics, scholars, activists from around the world who are dedicated to our mission, which is to impact positively the educational, economic, artistic, and healthcare outcomes and opportunities for Black populations across the diaspora. We have we started out initially with our pilot countries that we were connected with. We looked specifically at Brazil, the UK, Bermuda, and of course the US, since that's our base. But we truly are an international organization dedicated to those four areas. And so we have many initiatives that we've put forth over the years, including in terms of education, we've been looking at um, how to incorporate more African diaspora studies into the curricula of K through 12 schools. So we started out with the pilot in Brooklyn and in Alabama. And we partnered with the College Board to offer this curriculum on African diaspora studies in alignment with the AP seminar, which is advanced placement. There's a advanced placement capstone program in which high school students take it in order to learn research and writing skills. Well, we started out with sophomores, just 15-year-old students in both Brooklyn, New York, and in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. We had one group of students who were predominantly of African descent, well, actually all of African descent, with also a teacher of African descent. And in Alabama, we had a white male teacher with predominantly white students, some Asian, and both had amazing experiences. My research is actually dedicated to the students in Brooklyn who are all of Afro Caribbean descent. And the question I was asking was, well, one of the questions we had was, we know that many of the students of African descent do not take advanced placement courses, and that's due to many reasons, one of which they're often just not even offered to them. And so we thought, you know what, let's start with a course that they could break into in a way that would be a catalyst for them to take more AP courses, more higher level college ready courses or college prep courses. And they absolutely did. Not only did they take more AP courses, they actually took dual enrollment courses at the college next door. Many of them ended up with their associate's degree before they even got their high school diploma. And even afterwards, I'm still in contact with many of them. And now that they're in college, many of them are taking, even in their elective courses, they're choosing courses that are relevant to learning more about Africana studies, people of African descent throughout the world. And it's beautiful. I'm so excited because, again, back to my research specifically with them was I wondered, if their engagement with the course would influence their perceptions of Africa, the African diaspora, and of course themselves as African descendants? And the short answer is absolutely yes, it did. It helped them to better identify themselves as African descendants. Many of them had very, very negative images and ideas about Africa that were fed to them, just like they were to me and many other people, that Africa was a very poor, negative, undesirable place to be with a lot of pain, disease, famine, poverty, just any and everything negative. And so many people in the US of African descent who were descendants of the enslaved who came over, or just here even prior, still held very negative ideas about Africa because of these narratives that have been fed to us through movies, through songs, through books, through stories, all these negative narratives. And the same thing has happened in Africa. Many of people in Africa tend to have skewed ideas about who the Black Americans are, the African Americans, and what we're like. And that's all, again, because of the narratives that are out there. And so the beautiful thing about this course is that it wasn't scripted in a way that it was turn to page one and read these things and that was it. No, it was very open to what the students wanted to know. So the teacher had to play the role of facilitator instead of the dictator of these supposed facts, right? And then the students began to ask their own questions. And a lot of that had to do with their own personal lives. Many of them, of course, I'll go back to the first day of the class when one of the students, beautiful dark chocolate skin, beautiful bright smile, she looked at me and her first question was, does Africa look like they show you on TV? And of course, that made me go back and think about my own experiences because I had instantly the exact same images in my head she had seen. Because I had to ask, okay, well, what have you seen on TV? And many of the students chimed in and they began to describe the malnutrition babies with flies in their eyes. And after doing some research, I had never looked this deeply into it, but of course I had that same image in my head because that's what they portrayed over and over again. And just for a few cents a day, you could feed a child and all these stereotypical narratives. And so I looked into it and realized that that particular company, which is still in existence today, they literally came up with that campaign and named it Flies in the Eyes. They specifically curated those scenes to gain more money, to tug at the strings of people's hearts and try to portray it, but they don't. You know, I won't say they don't. They are very well aware, I'm sure, because that was their initial intention, and it's still been the narrative that the only time people in Africa are happy is when somebody white shows up and gives them something that they've been longing for, which is the basic survival needs, rather than being able to thrive. But the beauty of this experience for me is that I had already been to Africa myself, and I've been back since. And I can't wait to share more about Africa with them. But the good news is they did their own research. They didn't have to take my word for it. They did their own research, and we simply gave them the tools and said, here are the skills you need to know how to research. Here's how you can tell if it's a valid resource. Let's talk about firsthand narratives, firsthand experiences, first person narratives, if you will. And so they began to ask questions about their own lives and their own connections and their own roots and heritage, and asking their parents and grandparents, and open up a whole conversation that many people hadn't had before, as they begin to ask questions about their family traditions that they still do today, and wondering where did they come from. And even students who didn't necessarily identify as African descendants realized that their favorite family traditions had African roots.